This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Absolutely delighted to be joined by the one and only Mr. Packy Lee.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Living the dream still, as they say, on lockdown.
Talk to me a little bit about how the last couple of months have been for you, and what you've been kind of doing in that period.
So the last few months has went from just about to shoot season 6 of Peaky's to complete home lockdown, like everybody else, in support of the NHS and saving lives. We've decided to do what everyone else has done: stay at home. Homeschool has been one of the hardest things we've been trying to deal with 3 different kids, all different ages, all different schools happening. They're at Irish school, which is great, but we're obviously going through the 3 different stages of teaching. Do you understand? That's the knowledge of it. So the daughter Fola, she's at first year, so she's got a little bit harder homework to do than Shana, for example. He's P5, I believe. And then I've got my little boy, he's only 5, he's P1. He's just trying to adapt as well. It's been hard to keep them indoors as much as possible, but we're getting on with it like everybody else.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. Now, Packy, I read that you were literally within a day of starting the shooting for season 6.
We'd started already, to be honest. Because we were well into production with, as far as costumes are concerned, as far as script, as far as the knowledge of where we're going. We were good to go. We were a day away from shooting. That's the difference. But we were already months and months in planning, which is crazy. And yes, we were just about to go when we got the call to say, for the safety of everybody, we have to stop and pull the plug, you know.
Obviously, listen, it's like with anything, you know, with the boxing, the football, everything, live sport, and obviously your world as well. There's a bigger picture going on about coming out of this, getting everyone safe. But it doesn't mean we can't kind of miss the certain things that we're used to and accustomed to in our life. And I suppose Peaky Blinders fans, the way season 5 ended, it was quite riveting. So it was, you know, to not have that potentially till God knows when. I mean, I don't suppose you ever have even an idea when you can actually go back and start filming that.
No, there's a lot of speculation about when and how, and if so, this is the way it'll be done, and these are all just speculations at the minute. We're like everybody else. We're waiting until I think the time is right to do it. At the end of the day, I'll do what I'm told to do. But at the same time, we've also got the safety of our own families to be concerned about. You have to understand, it's not just as if we're going to arrive and just go, okay, let's do this. Our crew is massive, and our crew are amazing. So regardless of the actors that you all see, our crew, like the behind the scene guys, are like insanely amazing at what they do. And like they would be all in tight spaces at times, in like any film crew. And it's those lives as well that we're worried about. It's those safety measures that we have to be worried about, rather than just saying, okay, it's okay if one actor stands here and one actor is maybe a couple of feet away. Where's the camera? Where's the sound? Who's doing makeup? Where's costume? Like, if something falls and breaks, who's fixing it? What about the light? That needs changed. The amount of stuff that goes on before you get to hit the word go action is like insane. And like for directors alone, never mind actors, like it's they're always up, and especially Anto, like our director's lethal. You know what I mean? He's up and he's in, and he's involved, and even Stephen, he's involved. He comes on set, and you know, and we're a tight knit family. Our scenes are tight, not just on screen, but like they are tight because we're tight as a group and a unit. And these are the hardest things that we're going to have to try and come across. So when people are thinking, oh, when's it getting back? It's a bit different than football, because at the end of the day, we'll have to engage. Like, for example, if there's a fight scene, like how are you meant to do a fight scene 6 feet away without You know, yeah, it's like there's stuff there, like intimate scenes. How are they meant to happen if you can't get close to one another? Like, it's incredible. But then on the other hand, which is madness in my eyes, and I'm just going to throw this out, is that we have sport happening at the minute, and we have UFC. It's happening at the minute, and like I know they're locked down, but these guys are in, and they're getting it war. They're having war against each other. There's blood everywhere, and then it's hugging, back to normal, game over, let's go. And so there seems to be some normality way of that happening. I'm a fan of all sport. People know that. People know I love sport, whether it's golf, to Gaelic, to hurling, to UFC, to boxing, to football, to rugby. I'm just involved in all it because I just really enjoy competition as much as the next person, and maybe a wee bit more. So that's to see that's happening. There's a way. To see the guys training, there's a way. To see the football in Germany happening, it's happening. There's a way. They're staying away in training, working in small units, but when they're out there, they're still going for the ball. Well, they're footballers. They're going to go for the ball. They're great at doing their job.
You're 100% right in what you're saying. There's no possible way in any kind of television film production that you can social distance. No. It's impossible. And I mean, if you can social distance doing intimate scenes, then I envy that man, to be honest with you, because it's
yeah. Well, that's just not happening. I mean, impossible. In any scenario, like if somebody's in tears, crying, intimacy, privacy, heartbreaking, sorrow, how are you meant to go in and hug them, hold them? You know, I mean, listen, that's just TV. So let's go real on this. There's people who have been buried, people have lost loved ones, and other members of family have been able to attend a small gathering unit of a funeral, but not go near the person. And like there's somebody across the way, and they are in convulsions, and they need hugged and loved and held and reassured that yes, you've lost that person, but we're here, and you just can't cross the road. Now, forget about your sport and all that. That's the bigger picture here, you know. Because we don't know. It's an invisible. It's an invisible scenario, and the way that we're trying to adapt it, I think humans, in general, ourselves, have grew above what we normally do, and I know a lot of us will be passing this down the line in years and years to come. This will be history lessons in school of the time the world was locked down. Not just your country. I'm from Belfast. Listen, we go through we've done lockdown. I'm born in the 80s. We understand when things are closed, they're down. But this is different. This is like the world is closed, not just your local shops. Then you have to go 20 miles down the other one. I mean, the world has shut, which is incredible. The market shut. It closed, crashed. It's like, I mean, I'm into all that, following all that. I enjoy that type of excitement in the market things when they all just crash. It shows you an indication of the rest of the world just struggling. So it's frightening. It's really frightening.
It is frightening indeed. It is. Packy, I want to talk to you a little bit about boxing, because I know you're a huge boxing fan, and
yeah,
I know you obviously have been at some of the shows, etc. But I wanted to start off talking about the rise of Belfast boxing over the last few years, which has been quite evident. You've got your guys like Carl Frampton, who are kind of coming towards the end of their careers now, but there is kind of a new wave of talent coming in. Michael Conlan, obviously, is very prominent in that, but there's some other very talented boxers that are coming out of Belfast at the moment.
Well, I'm a massive fan of boxing in general, as you've said, and regardless of where the young fighter is from, I'm a massive fan of one thing. It's nobody to help you. And that's what I've said this before. What's amazing about boxers comparing to and UFC and fighters, for example, in that scenario, especially boxers though, because there's a difference. I've said this, I know UFC's harder. I get it all. I know there's a bit of an elbow. I get the whole scenario. I know the whole thing about the submissions. But if you asked anybody that box, it's the hardest thing they can possibly endure as a sport. I mean, that's my personal opinion, because it's constant arm battle, arm battle. You can't throw the leg kick. You can't drop the arms too much. You're constantly on your guard. So when you've got one lad, no matter where he's from, fighting another, or woman, excuse me, and it's the 6th round, and they're digging deep. No matter who's winning or losing, that's what I'm a fan of. And in Belfast, we eat that shit for breakfast. That's what we do. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, that's what we do here. I don't care where you're from, all right? We don't care what side of the wall you're from, as they say back home. But I'm being honest, see here in Belfast, we eat that for breakfast because that's what we endure. We endure the 6th and the 7th and the 8th rounds that we can get through because we've got the hunger and desire to go further. And yes, I know there's other fighters throughout that have the exact same hunger. And I'll say something. I know you says that Carl Frampton's on his way out. No way. I know you said he's come to the end of his career. I don't think so. I think we've still to see the best of what Carl Frampton has in the next couple of fights. I think if everything's done in the right manner, the way he wants to do it, his way, he is the ultimate person of the 6th round. His fight with Josh Watt, digging deep, is digging deep. You super glue yourself to the ground if you can. The whole lot was done, and he dug through it to get there. That's what I'm a fan of. Now, what he's bringing to boxing is what you're saying, is the uplift of new Belfast fighters. And that's what I love, because it's giving people the opportunity. And him doing what he's done is giving young kids the opportunity who are at the age of 14 and 15, who for one day feel like they're nobody, and the next day they might have a mate, and the next day they're bullied, and the next day they might have a friend, the next day they don't know where they're going in life. And he and all our younger boxers and anyone else in that type of sport are the perfect example of, listen, there's always a way. It's up to you, the individual mindset of where you're going in life. And that's what I love. And then you've got your Michael Conlons. Don't forget your Jamie Conlons, digging deep, getting there. Like, the Mexican is unbelievable. And let's be honest with it, because that's, like, I mean, who from Belfast called the Mexican? You'd need to be a serious good fighter to come off that. Do you know what I'm saying? The Mexican. So that's where I am within it all. As far as supporting all the lads, I'm a massive fan, and I enjoy every single thing about it. But it's a great sport that I also enjoy doing myself. I enjoy training in it. I enjoy getting through those points if I can't do any more. And I do need the other person at the other side of the room going, do you want somebody else to do it better than you? And that's the same in my job. You have to understand, I'm an actor. So every audition is an audition, but it's a fucking competition. Who's getting the job and who's going home with the praise? And then in my job is the same as boxing. Yes, you've got the fight. Yes, you've got the job. Yes, totally. But now you have to go and deliver. And when you have to deliver, that is a different scenario. And we in Belfast and Ireland in general, we make sure we deliver. And if not, we go down doing our best to show people that that's what we do. So I think there's a lot more to come from us. And I mean, I'm serious. There's a lot more. Whether it's a heavyweight, whether it's the feather, I think we have some fantastic fighters coming through. And at the minute, look at, like, I mean, Tyson Fury. I mean, that is an example of a man digging deep and getting through places that nobody knows. And he can talk about it. We can talk about it. Their cows come home. But this man's obviously, not that I'm aware of, you know, but we know that he's went through hell. God only knows what hell he's went through. And God took him back to where he wants to be. And he's brought him to where he is. And he get into that ring. And who gets up from a haymaker, knocked completely sparklers, and gets up and wins the round? Who does that? You know, who gets the rematch and makes the other person look as if it's a completely different fighter? I mean, I thought there was something wrong with the other. I was like, what is happening with Deontay Wilder? And then you watch it back and back. He's been schooled. There's too much. I don't know. I speak to boxers and they say a lot of it's about the training, a lot of it's about the mindset, but the good 60% of it is about what's in your belly and what's in your gut. Even Haymaker, David, he's a great guy at saying it, It doesn't matter how big they are. Like, they'll go down, you know what I mean? Because you've got that inside you. And that's the difference in every sport. Everyone. Football, the same. Gaelic, hurley. Oh my goodness. Somebody's gone down, they're going down properly. So that's the difference. And back home in Ireland, we like to make sure that we look at the best and we try and match it. And we have a lot of competition out there, and we are very aware of that. So it's good fun to have around.
Just picking up on a couple of the points, I think you spoke for a good 5 minutes there without any response from me. It's great. I love it. Packy, no, it's good.
Just wanted to get involved, man. No, I'm a big believer in what we do as a sport. And
absolutely.
Not,
just a point about Carl Frampton. Obviously, I know what you're saying about Frampton, but I'm just going from what Carl's been saying over the last sort of few months, kind of where he is. I mean, Carl's had a fantastic career already, and it will be a sad day when Frampton retires. But I think of Carl's own admission, he is towards the back end, like if you like the final chapter of his career. Obviously, he's looking for big fights, and it will be a sad day when Frampton does call it a day.
It'll be a sad day for him and a few other people. At that time, I respect that. I'll be one of them guys. I'll be like, goodness, the jackal. But it'll be an exciting, fantastic new chapter in his life, and whoever else is under the wings of Carl. Can you imagine being a young lad, having Carl Frampton in your corner, telling you what to do? The jackal. Now that's chance the shivers through my body. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean is the best that's yet to come. I know there's bigger fights out there that are won outside the ring. That's the difference in boxing. And psychologically, it's like, look at Jamie. Jamie's Jamie's unbelievable at what he gets from fighters and how he gets it from fighters, because he's been there, he's done it, and we've witnessed it. And when you have that experience, I'm looking forward to his new chapters. I'm looking forward to Carl's new adventures when he decides to get there. But I do still think there's a good 8-round knockout somewhere on the line before we go. Maybe an old smashing knockout in round 2, maybe. God knows who he's fighting, but it will be a big fight. But he will have that retirement and adrenaline coming through, and like that scares me to even think about that. So,
Yeah, I'll echo your thoughts on Jamie Condon. He was never ever in a dull fight. That's an understatement.
No.
He's been involved in some of the most exciting fights I've seen in general, not just obviously over in Ireland, but and now obviously does a lot of good work with MTK. Bringing helping bring the next generation through. But Jamie Condon, one of the best people in boxing, without a doubt.
Definitely, and all of a sudden the spotlight's now on Michael. And don't forget that everything Jamie's done, he's given that to Michael. You better bet your bottom dollar he's given that, because that's what family does. They are family as well as the team. So there's the team and there's family. And when there's two brothers and they collide and they have competition, it's great to see. So, yes, I think what he's done for boxing and the respect I have for that man, from what he's doing for the younger fighters and for not so much the younger fighters in general, but fighters now at the ages of where they are in their prime, he's really out there supporting them, helping them get to the levels where they should be fighting. And I'm a great believer in what he does, and I'm a great supporter of him. So I think he's done a wonderful job, and I hope it continues.
Just jumping back to Tyson Fury, obviously it was just under 2 years ago that Fury was fighting in Belfast as part of his comeback. I suppose when he fought in Belfast, we had no idea that within 3 months of that, he'd be in the ring with Deontay Wilder, where he had that infamous draw. But the talk at the moment is there's going to be a third fight with Deontay Wilder towards the back end of this year. But the fight that everyone wants to see here is the fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So,
Yeah.
how did that play out for you, Packy? What are your thoughts on that?
All right, very quick now. I'm calling come straight outward. Some people may not like it. I don't really give a fuck, man. I don't care. Here's the way it is. Wilder needs to sit and chill out and go back. Sit out, relax. He needs to go and fight maybe Andy Reese. I don't care. He needs to go and just chill out. He's done his bit, his talking, and he is one of the biggest and best punchers ever in heavyweight history. I mean, that's like, I mean, the record's fantastic. So, I mean, that's cool. But relax, will you, please? A third fight? Come on. You know what I mean? You got one lucky punch in the first fight. You got schooled in the second. I, at some point, felt a bit nauseous watching because he is normally a monster in the ring, and he wasn't with Tyson on that night. So unless he's going to come back and say, I was wrong, I'm going to be a monster, forget all the trash talk and just go for it, then maybe, just maybe I'll support him. But the fight we all want to see and the fight we need to see is the Joshua and Fury fight. It's the best of the best, but I listen. I think Anthony's class. I think what he does for the youngsters is class. I love his background, his story. It's proper backstreet kid. Could have went the other way, but then so is Tyson's. Do you understand? So when there's two massive stories and love stories, family histories collided that we love because they have gone from the ground and came out, and they're nigh on top. Great. But Tyson will go fucking through him. You understand? You can go through him, around him. He will move. Anthony Joshua will not know where he is. There'll be lefts, there'll be rights. Anthony's feet will not have a clue of where Joshua's. Where am I here? Where am I? That's the way that's going to be. I'm a big fan of Tyson. Massive fan of boxing in general. But when you have somebody who moves his head 100 positions every minute, you don't know where it is. I mean, it's impossible to try and hit this man. I mean, he can move and fast and move and boot. And I mean, unless Anthony Joshua has something we have never seen before, which is triple the speed he needs, and not just on his hands, on his feet, and triple the energy, then maybe he has a shot, yeah. But if he doesn't bring that to the table, then just leave the belt and don't even fight. There's no point. I'm just being honest, because also that will be the end then. If he loses that, there'd be no way back from that. You know what I mean? Like you have to look at the history. Tyson went and beat Klitschko. Klitschko then has that war with Joshua, which is well and good, but Klitschko was older. They're saying he hadn't got the energy. He had a good rattle at Joshua. Joshua gets rattled and gets up and beats. That was a hard fight. But I don't think it would come to that with Tyson. And I mean, listen, whatever. Now, don't be showing this to Anthony Joshua.
That's probably the most animated evaluation of the Fury Joshua fight that I've ever seen, to be honest.
I'm just being completely honest. As a fan, only a fan, nothing else. As far as everything else is concerned, it's just my own opinion.
Of course. Packy, I did want to kind of finish off on just picking back on Peaky Blinders because, I mean, it's a show that really has kind of gripped the country, hasn't it? And your character in it, Johnny, is very interesting because he seems to be the only person consistently through the series where his loyalty towards Thomas Shelby wasn't really questioned throughout. Everyone else, all the characters, his brothers, Polly, everyone, there was something going on where there was a little bit of heat between them. But your relationship with Thomas Shelby, I think only one instance towards, I think it was season 5, where it was ever brought into question. But was that how that character was always meant to develop like that? That he would always be kind of Thomas Shelby's guy?
I don't really know if that's the way it was always going to be, because when I did Peaky's to start with, KUGAN, I was only cast for 1 day.
Yeah.
So, and that's well out there. People are aware of that, and
Cool.
I'm very proud of that, because it's about showing people that even if you are only cast for 1 day, don't go in there and just think, oh, it's only 1 day. Go in and give it everything you have, because there could be a second or third day if things develop. And that's what happens. And now I'm with Peaky Blinders 10 years. Under no circumstances that I think I would be the character, or taking the character where I am. But there's one thing I'm very aware of, was in season 1, when we were doing some read-throughs, we had spoke very quickly and firmly on the fact that we were close friends as kids. And if you're close friends as kids, and then somebody can call you a war-shy gypsy bastard for not going to war, and you still look at him and go, and you don't acknowledge it, that's either you're afraid of him, or it's just the way you speak to each other. You're not afraid to tell each other the truth. It's a brotherly love when you're not real brothers. It's like a real good friend that it's a real good friend. You don't need to question that. That's everyone, in my eyes, needs somebody like that. So as far as loyalty is concerned, it's the one thing I've always wanted to bring to the character and to bring to that story, and to have fun with it, and to be there for him throughout that, because when you're dealing with a family saga, there's always going to be drama within the family, and it's good to have that loyalty stone. But I'm not the writer, and I'll let you know now, if the loyalty's broken, it will break my heart as much as it would break any type of fans' hearts. Like, it would literally, like, that would hurt me if I had to do something as that character now to betray the last 10 years of what I've just developed with the character. And that's the frightening thing about when you get a script that you're going, oh, please don't. Because you don't know. You just don't know. Because when you're reading, it's like you're watching for the first time. So you don't know. Like, you don't, like, Stephen's not going to phone you and go, listen, I'm going to have you doing this and this. He likes the suspense as much as the next man, because he's a writer. So, yeah, the one thing I've based it on is loyalty. I will say that we have got, and I had got the scripts for season 6, and they're incredible. And I just wish we were at a point now, because we would be at a point now where we would be able to maybe, show maybe 1 or 2 small snippets.
Packy? Come on, Packy, tell us what happened in it.
It's just very, very, very good. It's very good. It's another page turner. It's great. The excitement's there.
I wouldn't want to know, even if you said.
I know, because nobody does. Don't be spoiling it. Yeah, the real fans of the show are like, don't spoil it. And I love that. And I've said from day one, look, I'm a fan of the show. It just happens to be a minute. That's like, that's a big deal to me, because like when I watched it the first time, I went, I really like this. Like, even if I'm not in it again, this is the type of stuff I would watch. The Broadwalk Empire State, Peaky Blinders, I'm into all that old school. So to be in it and to be a fan, it's great. It's a bit like being a footballer and playing for the team you've supported, because that's how I feel at the minute with Peaky's. And we're a very loyal company, and we try and stay that way, which is very important.
I mean, in contrast, the character that Tom Hardy plays in that, Alfie Solomons, I mean, I didn't know from not one episode to the other, I didn't know 1 minute to the other whose side he was on, because that was the way his character was portrayed. Like, literally, you never knew any scene with Tom Hardy in it. You never knew who he was batting for. He literally would. He could have been with the Italians.
Well, that's as much as that's the secret to the rating. That's also the secret to the acting. Yeah. And listen, scene between him and Killian recently was one of the best scenes I've ever witnessed in my whole entire life, and I learned so much, and have and will continue to learn so much throughout Piggy's, because of the likes of Killian and Tom. And you have to understand, you have 2 different, we're all different actors, you know what I mean? Like, you've got it, like Paul's great. Paul's just
Paul Anderson,
great.
Yeah, and John Cole as well.
John Cole as well. Joe was there, and Joe's moved on, obviously. You've got Finn's there, you know what I mean? And then you've Helen, and then Sophie. Like, that's, like, to me, like, you know, I'm just proud and privileged to spend a split second on screen with any one of these guys at any time. And that's just me being honest. But when it comes down to it, we got to work, man. And it's, don't let the other person down. Deliver. Get on with it. Make sure you're there. It's not just the other actor. There's 100 odd people that were here. We have to finish this by this time. You have to be in that costume by that time. Let's go. Now. It's not like, oh, we all love each other and we're all great and all grand and wow. No, it's none of that. We're serious people. Very serious. It's just we don't, you know, we like to let people know that it's good fun in the mornings when we're having breakfast.
Also, Paddy Considine's role in it was tremendous as well. And a brilliant character he played. The priest was that, and obviously not relating this to boxing. We saw cameos, a bit more of a cameo from Nigel Travis in it. Obviously,
yeah.
We saw a cameo from Jamie Moore in it, but
yeah.
I mean when we saw Nigel Travis, we know Nigel Travis has been in a few bits anyway, but. That was always good for boxing fans.
Jamie, I think Jamie was meant to be back with Nigel, and he's always welcome back with us, and he knows that anyway. It was great when you have those guys, and they're the Lee boys, and you've got them in your corner. You know, great fun. But at one point, I didn't know, are they really fighting or what? And Killian. Hello, this is TV. I think he's actually physically beaten him. It's like, no, it's all right. So these guys are good, like, you know, and it was great to be involved with them. So and Nage was back for a few other stuff as well, which is great to see. But these guys, like the stuff these two boys do behind the scenes that nobody sees for youngsters in the likes of the Must Say Boxing Club.
Unbelievable.
Come on, man, you know. They are brilliant guys, and they're the guys that create the Michael Conlons and the Carl Framptons and the Tyson Furies, because they find them at like 9 and 8 and 7 when they have nothing to do and they may take a wrong road in life, you know. Not that I'm saying everyone should be a boxer.
No, I will echo that as well. Nigel Travis and Jamie Moore, the work they've done within boxing is very much underrated. Nigel Travis, obviously, call him what you want, the fighting fireman or whatever, but he's done so much in the area over there. He's one of the unsung heroes of
I'm a massive supporter of him. He knows that, and everything that he does from behind the scenes with the club is fantastic, and it's those type of people that I feel for now, and those type of kids who can't get out to the gym at this time, and they're stuck maybe with computer games and stuff like that. Like, I've got my own son. He's normally out doing football 3 times a week. He's normally out doing his hurley or his Gaelic twice a week. You know, there's 6 or 7 activities have missing in the household because we're on lockdown. And it's just very nice to maybe remember to those kids, listen, there'll come a time when you'll be back in there. Don't lose your love for the game. Don't lose your love for whatever sport that you have in your head or whatever you want to be in life because of this scenario. We will all get through it. And that's what we're planning to do. Hopefully.
Okay, Packy, very, very much appreciate your time this Friday afternoon.
Lethal, man.
Pleasure to be talking to you about everything, really. Boxing, Peaky, obviously, and just life in general. So,
and yourself, mate. Pleasure. Anytime. Thank you very much, mate. Fan of the show. So, have a lovely weekend, buddy.
Thank you very much.